guys, it's Alyssa, the hopeless romantic redhead.
And I'm the whodunit detective, Danielle.
And welcome to Main Character Syndrome. If you feel like you are the main character in your life, you are in the right place. We have a main character moment that we both just had. We both went to Wicked, the movie.
Yep, we were there Friday night and got to enjoy the wonderful experience of going to the movie theater in the reclining chairs.
Yes. Opening night, by the way.
Yes.
It was so much fun. I loved it. I felt like a main character through the whole thing because I just felt like my inner child was screaming with glee.
Well, you see, I have never had any other experience with Wicked before, so this was like my first time. So really looking forward to it. I didn't know what to expect. Wouldn't call myself a fan typically of musical movies. I really liked The Beauty and the Beast with Emma Watson.
Oh, yep.
But normally not my vibe. Loved it.
Wicked, what did you think for your first experience of the musical?
Yeah, so I would say that this was my first and only experience. I mean, I'm still going to go see the Broadway musical next year in Tulsa, but I liked that I got to see it kind of as its own piece. I really thought that the writers, I'm assuming for the musical, the play, and then now the movie, they did an awesome job, I would say, sorting through all of like the graphic events that happen in the book and kind of removing those, making it a little bit more soupy and definitely Disney-fying it.
Yeah.
Making it more family friendly. They did an awesome job with that, but I still saw maybe like some Easter eggs, I would say, to things in the book.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to get into with today's episode. We're obviously going to give our review of the Wicked movie. Danielle's going to give you more of a point of view from someone who read the book and understood the book, whereas I'm going to give a point of view of someone who has seen the musical, and we'll talk about some of the differences and the similarities there. Overall, Wicked, the movie, director John Chu, writers Winnie Holtzman, Danny Fox. This is an example of a director who knows not to mess with the fan base that is Wicked and created the true story with everything, any extra parts that he put in it, just enhanced it.
Yeah, I wrote something down at the end that I wanted to make a note of here, and that is definitely a huge shout out to him. All of the detail that he put into creating this world and turning the musical into this full TV movie production, I was just like completely wowed by all of it. And I was like, I hope that at the very end they wrapped up, everything's edited. He was like, hell yeah, I effing did this. And this is a masterpiece. And I know that people will love it.
Oscar winning for sure. If this movie doesn't win at least a few Oscars, I will be surprised.
I mean, they have to for the singing at least.
The singing, the cinematography, the directing, the production. Ariana for Best Supporting Actress. Cynthia's got a lot of competition, but I think she could nail that spot for Best Actress.
Do you know who her competition could potentially be?
I don't, but I have been hearing through the grapevine that she's got some competition.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to think of like other big films so far this year.
For a female actress, I cannot remember to save my life.
I wish I knew. But, I mean, she did phenomenal. It was such an incredible work of art. And I think, she deserves something. I mean, we recognize who Cynthia
Yeah, we'll give you the Oscar. The Oscar goes to
much.
Cynthia and Ariana Grande.
But the fact that, one, we can't ignore the fact that both Ariana Grande and Cynthia both sang live during these scenes and then kind of edited their sound from there. And Cynthia did her own stunts. And so that means while she was flying on the broom, she was belting as best as she could, singing just flawlessly.
Oh, she did all her stunts. Jonathan Bailey did all of his stunts. He did his flip. That was him. He did some footwork with opening and closing these books, which was really cool. He did that himself. The fun thing that I saw was that he actually practiced those moves in his trailer filming Bridgerton.
Oh, really?
And so he really was dedicated to this role. Wicked overall is a showstopper. It is a spectacle. And the fun thing about this is even if you hadn't read the book, even if you hadn't seen the musical, you would still understand it. You wouldn't be lost because the director did such a good job of telling that story from beginning to end. And Defying Gravity, if you didn't know what comes next, that's actually a pretty good spot to stop.
No, I would say so. Right there. Like things are about to completely switch.
Mhm.
And that was definitely a switch in the acts in the book. I can't remember how many acts total there were. Weren't there like 3?
Oh, there were quite
Maybe.
a few.
But yeah, that was where they switched in the book too.
Yeah. Yeah, in the book, there were quite a few. In the musical, there was Act 1 and Act 2. Act 1 was part 1 of the book, or part 1 of the musical, excuse me. Act 2 is going to be part 2 of the musical as well.
Mhm.
And I'm really excited to see that. That's when you get like, I want to say it gets more intense. You know, the beginning was like a little bit of the storytelling. The part 2 is more intense, very emotional, very dark. Gonna see how interesting that's gonna be to see how they work with that with the PG rating.
Yeah, I've heard some things about certain characters who are like so sweet and beloved, I would say right now. And I've heard that things kind of switch with their characters. And I'll say specifically Nessa Rose. I've heard things get a little dark. So I'm excited to see her role be a little bit bigger, potentially, hopefully, in the next part. I will say though, the budget for this film was $145 million.
And you could see it on screen. You could tell this movie had money. I mean, they planted 9 million tulips to create the tulip field. They built the set. They built Shiz. They built the Emerald City. They built Munchkinland. All of those are tangible sets.
The train was real.
Yeah.
And yeah, the train was real. I couldn't believe that. So most of what we see is not CGI.
No.
Which I found to be crazy. But I was like, okay, if this is going to be a 2-part movie, then you are reusing a lot of these scenes for the second one. And I'm going to be very interested to see how the first weekend at the box office performs. I think it's going to be great.
Oh,
movie theater was slammed when we were there last night.
Big time. I think this movie is going to be a box office hit. It's a spectacle. As I said, it's a showstopper. The vocals, the acting, the dancing, the set, the sound engineering, the costumes, the cinematography, and the colors. I mean, it was incredible.
Down to the smallest details. I saw that Cynthia's dress, one of the dresses she was wearing, they made all of the details kind of to look like a fungus, like a mushroom. So while you have Glinda wearing all of these like beautiful gowns, like for her, they were like trying to make her darker. And I mean, comparing her to a fungus, that's messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see all of the folds that looks like a mushroom kind of in her dresses when I saw some pictures online. It was really interesting. And I read that her full makeup took about 4 hours to do. But when they only had to do like her face and hands, it was like just under kind of 3 hours. But I'm like, wow.
And they took so long to figure out what shade of green to make her.
Yeah, so it didn't look like face paint. It could be an actual skin tone. They also created the green skin tone bodysuit for her that would go underneath her clothes. So when she had like some mesh in her dresses, it just went seamlessly. And then they didn't have to like paint her entire chest or something.
Again, the attention to detail was incredible. As the director said, this movie needed to be in 2 parts. And I see why. Act 1 of Wicked, the musical, is 90 minutes. Just 90 minutes alone, Act 1. So when you see it on stage for the musical, you don't get those close-ups. You don't get the emotions with the facial expressions. And you get that in this movie. And it makes it 10 times better.
Yeah. I was a bit skeptical at first about Ariana Grande playing Glinda. I was really skeptical at first. And I know that she's had several acting roles. I mean, she started off as an actress before she became the pop sensation that she is. But I would say those roles that she had, you know, they weren't like A-list. You know, she was on Nickelodeon and the shows were great. Loved her on Victorious.
I loved her in Victorious. I used to watch Victorious.
Yeah. So I loved her in that. But I wasn't sure about her acting. I was like, I mean, this is going to be something that she really needs to like step up for.
What I saw,
she did great.
It was not Ariana Grande. That was Glinda.
Yeah.
That completely changed who you thought she was.
Yeah.
As a professional. She is a triple threat. She can act, she can sing, she can dance.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. It was like Linda. It wasn't like I was looking at, Ariana Grande, thank you,
Mm-hmm.
next. I was looking at this, Broadway musical
Mm-hmm.
singer. I was looking at this actress who was just not anyone I've seen before, but it was this character.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that's why John Chu said that he kind of selected her, that he also had his reservations
Mm-hmm.
kind of about her. And then she walked in there and he's like, nope, that's Galinda.
Yeah, and she also grew up with an idol like Kristen Chenoweth. I mean, she's known her since she was 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so she grew up, she saw Wicked, and immediately when she was younger, she was asked, who would you play in Wicked? And she's like, Glinda.
Yeah. And she's
Look at her
wanted this
now.
for so long. It was such, a sweet, like full circle, bittersweet moment to kind of see her doing that and see her in the press tour, just see how much it meant to her. As well as, I mean, Cynthia and her, that press tour.
There were a
Great.
lot of tears in the press tour. I mean, they got a lot of emotional answers from these actors and actresses, and it was actually really fun to see. You could tell the immense joy that Ariana had filming this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, as she said in the press tour, that it brought out her inner child. It brought her back to who she was before skyrocketing into fame.
Yeah. Yeah, they just did a fantastic job together.
Mm-hmm.
The interviews that they did together, I will say, I mean, Ariana Grande is not known to be a girl's girl.
No, but I mean, in every press tour, every press interview she was. I mean, she was wiping Cynthia's tears.
Literally, the bond between them was so sweet. It was completely different from the It Ends With Us press tour. It was like, okay, like these girls, they have put everything into this work. And it shows, and they have developed this really strong bond. They got tattoos together.
Multiple tattoos. They got a for good on their hands, so when they clasp them together, they touch. So cute.
That's awesome.
They got poppies. They have multiple tattoos from this movie.
So I really liked to see kind of how they came together. And it's so fun that their characters, obviously hate each other and then find this bond and come together too.
You could see they hated each other, but they were also like frenemies. They got off making each other mad.
Yeah.
And you could see that through What Is This Feeling? They were like playfully making each other miserable, which was kind of fun to see. And you could tell like the friendship that they had outside of the movie portrayed into the movie as well, with the connection that they had on screen.
Yeah, they just had a lot of fun. And I will say, I think Cynthia was the perfect Elphaba choice.
I literally have the perfect Elphaba.
I couldn't imagine anyone else in that role. And she's been in a lot of work.
She has a Broadway background. She actually is known for her role as Celie Harris in The Color Purple.
She's been Harriet. So I'm so glad that we're now seeing just how like amazing she is. She's been in all of these, but if I'm being honest, I mean, I hadn't heard much about her until Wicked. And I'm like, girl, keep going. Keep going. You are amazing. I'm like trying not to cry, like watching her perform. She was just like the perfect mix of charming, relatable, being humorous.
She was a vocal powerhouse. She always has been, but I think she took Elphaba and her voice in her singing and the power that she has inside and brought that out into her voice, which was incredible to see on screen.
She kind of personified what we like quote as the villain in this. She made her just like you and me. Yeah. Like I saw myself in Elphaba.
Yeah. I would agree. She, she always looks like she doesn't care what people think. Same with Glinda. Oh, I couldn't care less what people think of me. And then Elphaba's like, could care less. Or she's like, I could care less. And then Elphaba's like, couldn't care less. So, yeah. And then she's in the Dancing Through Life number where Glinda is told by Fiero, well, she doesn't give a twig what people think. And she's like, no, she does. She just doesn't let people show it.
I put that here and I quoted that because I literally started to like tear up when that happened. Like I have like felt like that in like so many moments where I don't know, everyone has like different experiences, but I feel like so many young women experience a moment like at the ball. Like I have this whole paragraph right here about the ball because I thought that was one of the most powerful scenes that I watched and like what I took away from that film. Cynthia's acting was like such raw emotion. And I saw in some interviews that she took like some real life experiences that she's had.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard for her to film that because it was like bringing up, you know, kind of those triggers and the embarrassment, the shame. So it was definitely hard, I saw, for her to record that. But yeah, when Fiero was like, she really doesn't care what people think, and Glinda like just like has that moment, she's like, F.
Yeah.
No, she does.
Glinda
She
realizes
just
that she
pretends not
screwed
to.
up. And that was a really powerful moment too, where Glinda owns up to her shit in a sense, is that she's like, oh crap, I was really mean. I regret doing this. I'm going to make it right. And so she makes a fool of herself dancing with Elphaba, and then they create a dance together. And then the whole crowd joins in, and then all of a sudden Elphaba is one of society.
Yeah, man. Oh, that one was just tore right through me. And it was like Elphaba was there and she was so excited. She wanted to help Glinda out, and she got her kind of that apprenticeship because she was like, oh, that's so nice of her. She gave me this hat. And it's like,
well, and Nessa Rose, because Glinda got Bach to ask Nessa Rose out. And so Nessa is like, please understand, Glinda did this for me. I wish I could pay her back.
Yeah.
And so that's when Elphaba goes and asks Madame Morrible to see if she can add Glinda to the list. And Glinda gave her that hat, and Elphaba's like, oh, maybe we can be friends. And
it was like, actually, this has all just been a sick joke on both of you. I'm really glad that in the movie, you can kind of see the character of Glinda that we get in the book. Like, she is not nice.
No, she's self-absorbed, very narcissistic in a way. Same with Fiero in the beginning. Going back to Cynthia, though, the facial expressions, I really want to point that out because when you get the stage production, you don't really get to see those close-ups. And John Chu is really well known for close-ups. And Cynthia is so good with her facial expressions. Her ability to create such a subtle expression that has such a big impact on the character development and the story, incredible.
Yeah.
And then she also put a couple things of herself into this movie, which I really liked. She had micro braids. So I don't know if you saw that. For her heritage and her culture. And then her nails. That was a huge thing for her.
I forgot to write that down. I was like, you see her hands close up several times, and I'm like, oh shit.
They're fabulous.
Her hands look great. I was like, damn.
Can I get my nails?
I was like, this is a weird thing to notice and be like, your hands look really good. But they did. Her nice, like, long nails, her fingers looked so skinny. And I was like, I wish my nails looked like that.
Going to Ariana and her acting. So I want to bring us back to the opening scene. These are going to be spoilers for everybody. If you haven't seen the musical, read the book, you're not going to know what happened. So maybe stop, go see those things, and come back. Ariana, the opening scene of Wicked, and they're singing No One Mourns the Wicked. You can see on Glinda's face the pain as the people of Munchkinland are rejoicing her best friend's death.
Oh,
yeah. Even though she puts on a good act singing good news, you know, she's like, good news, everybody, the witch is dead. But during her bit singing Goodness Knows the Wicked's lives are lonely, goodness knows the wicked die alone, Glinda is actually talking about herself from the events that happened in part 2. She does end up alone, but she gets everything she wants in the process. So her best friend's dead. She doesn't have Fiero. And so she is alone, but she's still loved by all these people, and she's getting everything she wanted.
Yeah, you could see kind of the anguish when she had to light the wooden Elphaba on fire. It was it's like, yeah, that was hard. I was like, things are gonna turn sour.
Yeah. Jonathan Bailey as Fiero, I loved him. He's an amazing singer. He was perfect for Fiero. He was cheeky, flirty, just like he was in Bridgerton, but you didn't see Anthony. You saw Fiero.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, for a while, I maybe saw a little bit of Anthony.
When he walked in on the horse.
Yeah, which the horse was from Bridgerton, too.
Yes.
He requested that horse.
Yeah, it was Jack, the same horse. But what was funny is Jack talked. So they made him talk.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. The horse talked back after Cynthia, Elphaba, basically like ditched him in the woods, and
Uh-huh.
then the horse was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, she's a fiery one,"
Yeah.
or "She showed you." It was just really fun to see. He did his own stunts. What was really a fun fact here, he was filming 3 projects at once. He was filming
Mhm.
Bridgerton, Wicked, and Fellow Travelers.
Wow.
Busy boy.
Mhm. That's a lot.
No kidding. Jeff Goldblum, I think he was a perfect wizard. He showcased a lazy, entitled, self-absorbed, but still funny guy.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with all of those things.
Did you hear his voice in the beginning where he's like, "Have a little drink, my dark-eyed beauty"?
No, I don't remember.
It's when he's dancing with Elphaba's mom. His voice comes out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you didn't know, the ending of Wicked, the wizard, is Elphaba's dad, but you can kind of hear it in his voice, in his
Mhm.
singing. So you can kind of foreshadow that there, which is kind of fun.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I knew that already from the
Mhm.
book, but yeah, I didn't see that foreshadowing there. I just saw
Mhm.
the bottle.
Mm-hmm. So when he's singing, he's like, "Have a little drink of green elixir, and we'll have ourselves a little mixer." And
Mhm.
you can hear it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. Interesting.
So,
Yeah, this was definitely a movie that I want to like go back and rewatch again now.
I will see this movie like 10 different times. I swear
Mhm.
to God. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year. If not,
Mhm.
I think this was the best musical to movie adaptation I've ever seen done.
I would say, yeah, really good. I mean, once
Mhm.
again, I really liked Beauty and the Beast, but this one was definitely like you
Mhm.
could tell way more money was
Way
put
more
into
money.
this.
It never deviated from the story, and anything that they added only enhanced it.
Mhm.
Only made it better, not worse.
Yeah.
And we got Nanny. I was happy
Yeah.
to see Nanny. She was a freaking bear.
Yeah. That was interesting to make her a bear, but I was like, mama bear
Yeah,
kind
I
of
loved
thing.
it though.
That was
Like
cute.
Elphaba had a parental figure in Nanny in the book, as we saw, and so they actually made her more of a character
Was
in
she
the
not
movie, which I appreciated.
was she not like that in the musical?
Mm-mm.
Wasn't in the musical?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then yeah, I really like that they added her.
I do too. Okay, let's talk about some of the nods to Wizard of Oz. Right away in the beginning, you get the opening credits, and it's Wicked in the same font as the Wizard of Oz was.
Mhm.
And then we have the pan over Oz. You see Dorothy, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion just walking down the
them.
yellow brick road all the way down to the Emerald City, which is really fun to see.
That was neat.
Something you might not have seen, the ruby red slippers being clicked together 3 times during Popular.
Is what she like gave to her.
Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting. I noticed that. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and because the shoes Nessa Rose wears are silver, they brought in the ruby red slippers as kind of like a nod to the Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
The poppies, that was a really big reference to the poppies in the Wizard of Oz that make people sleep.
Yeah, when the magic happens and
Yep.
then everyone in the room sleeps so they rescue the little cub.
And poppies really played a big role because poppies were Dr. Dilliman's favorite flower. Fiyero gave Elphaba a poppy before she went to the Emerald City.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't, in the book, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And then the Scarecrow references with Fiyero being brainless, stuff yourself, and then too much thinking.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
You remember when Elphaba is in the woods? She's like, stuff yourself.
Stuff yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scarecrow reference.
Oh, that's good.
And that's from the musical as well. So when you watch the musical and you'll see in Act 2, Fiyero does become the Scarecrow. Bach becomes a Tin Man. The lion that they saved in class turns out to be the Cowardly Lion.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like that they also included Kristen and Adina in the movie. I was like, that was really neat. I like that they kind of gave them that like paid homage to them and like were the originals, but like kind of passing the torch. And like the way that they've talked about Ariana and Cynthia, it's just like phenomenal. They're like, they've taken like what we did and they're like took it up a notch.
They were asked if they gave them any advice, and Idina Menzel was like, no, I just told her to enjoy this time, and I knew she would make it her own, and she did a phenomenal job. I mean, I wrote down some wow factors. That was one. So One Short Day was never really my favorite song from Wicked the musical, and now it's really gotten up to like the top 5, whereas a couple days ago I ranked it, and it was like down like as number 10 out of like 13. And now I'm like, wow, they really took One Short Day and they made this spectacle of a musical piece with Idina and Kristen. And it just really added to the story as well.
Yeah, I would say my favorite was Defying Gravity, but I've never listened to any of the Wicked soundtrack before literally the movie yesterday. It's crazy, maybe everyone's like, "What?"
Mhm.
But I don't know. I never saw the play growing up. So I'm like, when would I have done that really?
Mhm.
So no, I just like literally went in completely blind. But of course, I guess I've heard parts of Popular before, and like I've heard of Defying Gravity.
Mhm.
However, I did kind of look into the old versions, from the Broadway musical to the movie now. And
Mhm.
both are fantastic.
Yeah, I never want to say it's better. Each person gives their own spin on the song, and I love that they put their whole being into this. One of the wow factors that I wrote was the word unlimited being sung throughout the whole movie. So the meaning changes every time, though. The movie enhanced it from the musical, which was really fun to see. So The Wizard and I, she goes, unlimited, my future is unlimited. That's when she's thinking that she's going to have this amazing time with the wizard. She's going to be degreenified. It's going to be great. And then the beginning of Defying Gravity, she's like, unlimited. Together we are unlimited with Glinda.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the power of friendship and that they can do literally anything if they stick together. But then when Glinda doesn't come back, she's singing unlimited and it goes higher and higher as she's finally reaching her potential. And she's just finally like unlimited. And then she's like, so if you care to find me, look to the western sky.
Mm-hmm.
As someone told me, everyone deserves a chance to fly.
Chills.
Oh my God.
Chills.
That was my absolute favorite part of the whole freaking movie.
Yeah, I was like, wanted to just stand up and start clapping before she finished. I wanted to be like, you go, man.
The high notes of
like,
Unlimited. Oh my God. She just kept going up and up. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Like, it makes me want to tear up right now. I'm just like,
literally,
so talented.
I literally teared up during Defying Gravity because of the whole emotion between her and Glinda. Oh my God. I was like speechless. So I'm really excited to see how she goes from Unlimited in Act 1 to I'm Limited when she sings For Good with Glinda. And if you know, you know, you'll eventually hear that in Act 2. But then it goes from unlimited to I'm limited. When in the book, everything goes to crap and nothing she has done has been working out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's a failure. And so she's like, I'm limited. So I'm really, really excited to see how that goes in Act 2. But just a genuine friendship between Ari and Cynthia with the tattoos. I mean, you can just see, as I said before, that friendship portrayed on screen.
Mm-hmm. They were just the perfect combo together. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else.
Fun fact, some of the actors on audition for the movie, so Fiyero, both Nick and Joe Jonas auditioned to be Fiyero. Dove Cameron, Amanda Seyfried, and Renee Rapp all auditioned for Glinda. But honestly, now I look at that, I'm like, Ariana Grande is Glinda.
No, yeah, she was the perfect choice.
No alternative.
Mm-hmm.
And then fun, some of the Wicked musical alumni was in the ensemble, which I saw they took like a bunch of people who were in the original Wicked musical and they brought them in to sing on all the songs, which was really cool. Something kind of fun too is some of the fun and silly words to make you feel like you're part of Oz.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Congratulations for congratulations, pronunciation, pronunciation. Like, it's just really fun. And they had like their own language.
In Popular, there's a moment where she's like, popular lar.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That's in the musical as well.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I don't know how to say it. Popular. Overall, 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10. I'm going to see this movie 50 times.
Yeah.
Like, when this comes out on streaming, that's all that's going to play on my television. Like, for the rest of my life. Like, I love this movie so much. As a theater girl, I loved it.
And the movie was really long, but it didn't feel like that.
No, the pacing was perfect.
Mm-mm.
It went by so fast.
I was like, oh, wait, it's over? I was like, already? And my husband felt the same way. We were like, what? And then we look at the time and we're like, oh, crap.
Yeah. As John Chu said, he said it needed to be in 2 parts. And I do see that now. I'm like, okay, I cannot wait to see what John Chu and the writers and all the actors do with Act 2 being so dark, suspenseful, twisty, and just so emotional.
Yeah. They're going to do a great job.
I'm so excited. To say I'm excited is an understatement. So
we have to wait a year.
2025 cannot come quick enough. If you saw Wicked, let us know your thoughts. We would love to know. Follow us on social media, Main Character Syndrome Pod. For now, to the readers who listen, we'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.